Osama Siblani left Beirut 38 years ago to study at the University of Detroit, he never expected to become a newspaper publisher. Upon graduation, he stayed in the United States and became an engineer. In 1984, the growing Arab American community in Detroit needed a media voice. The Middle East was going through political turmoil that affected Arab lives and interests. No one told the story from the Arab American perspective. Siblani decided the best way to overcome this image was to start a new career as a publisher. He called the newspaper the Arab American News. 30 years later, it remains the largest Arab newspaper in the United States. Though the paper is designed primarily to serve the Arab American community, Siblani's mission has reached far beyond. Born in the heart of Dearborn, the nation's Arab American capital, the newspaper has been published every week since January 1985. Week in and week out, in 2 languages and spanning 3 decades, the paper chronicled intense community growth and world headlines dominated by the Middle East. The newspaper stayed financially independent and editorially courageous. Its success is a telling example of this country's promise of free speech and the Arab American community's potential for fulfilling it. The 1985 TWA hijacking in Beirut brought national attention to Dearborn.
2 leaders of the Lebanese community in Dearborn returned home tonight after meeting with the State Department officials in Washington, D.C.
Osama Siblani, publisher of this country's largest Arab newspaper based in Dearborn, and Nasib Fawaz, head of Detroit's Islamic Center, returned from Washington tonight, calling a meeting they had with a top aide to Secretary of State George Shultz very constructive. The 2 also said they made it clear to the State Department that the Lebanese community in no way condones the hijacking. But Siblani is worried by U.S. military ships off the Lebanese shore and reports of gunfire. The paper also has a correspondent in Beirut monitoring the hostage drama on the TWA jet.
The poll was conducted by the Dearborn-based Sada Al-Watan, a weekly Arabic-English newspaper with a circulation of 10,000. 275 of its readers responded to the phone poll.
To get a better understanding of what's going on in the Middle East, we're going to spend some time with a man from Beirut tonight.
Osama Siblani was born in Lebanon. As you just saw, he owns and publishes that weekly Arabic newspaper. Mr. Siblani, thank you for joining us tonight.
Rising tensions in the Middle East brought more scrutiny to the Arab American community and the paper.
Many of them are concerned, deeply worried. Osama Siblani is the publisher of the Sada Al-Watan newspaper. That's the largest American Arab publication in the country. And he's joining us now live from his office in Dearborn. Mr. Siblani, good evening. Besides the military option, which was obvious, in trying to deal with terrorism, which clearly has become an increasing danger and threat not only to Americans, but to many people around the world.
I think we should search for the source, for the heart of the issues. I think we should be more even-handed in the Middle East. I think we should look at the Palestinian question, resolve it, put some little pressure on Israel to withdraw from Lebanon, to have good friends and allies.
The paper broke major news as it was happening.
Let's go to Detroit now. Detroit is a city, I think it's kind of the unofficial Middle Eastern capital of the United States. A lot of Arab Americans have emigrated to that area over the years, Palestinians, Lebanese, people from Egypt as well, and also from Iraq, and NBC's Lucky Severance is there tonight.
Tom, I'm with Osama Siblani, who is publisher of the largest Arab American paper outside of the Middle East. We're in Dearborn, a suburb of Detroit. I think there are about 250,000 Arab Americans here, is that right?
That is correct, Lucky.
You're putting out a special edition tonight, and from the tears I've seen on some of the workers' faces tonight, this will not be an edition rejoicing or attacking Iraq.
Well, of course not.
Mr. Siblani's credibility has been measured by the quality of his contacts. It is a fact that earlier this evening, 1/2 hour before the attack in the Middle East, Mr. Siblani had reported that information.
I'm also interested in your contacts in the Middle East. I've not forgotten that you called us and told us about a half hour before anybody else seemed to have the word that this attack was going to occur. So clearly, you're well connected in the Middle East.
The paper became a firm voice that does not waver or buckle under pressure.
Let me say first, yeah, I haven't, so don't please put words in my mouth.
Well, that's let Mr. Siblani make his point. How would you characterize Saddam Hussein? You apparently don't accept the Hitler analogy. What would you call this monster?
I'll tell you what was Saddam Hussein. Saddam Hussein is the president of Iraq. He elected
by whom? Elected by whom?
Elected by the same people who elected by the same people who elected King Fahd, the one that we are defending, or the Emir of Kuwait, who we're trying to restore.
Got you there, Ben.
A national voice.
Mr. Sablani is the publisher of the Arab American News. That well-known paper is based in Detroit.
Violence in the Middle East was not the Arab Americans' only concern. Negative stereotypical portrayals of Arab Americans were being perpetuated by Hollywood and the media. The Arab American News worked hard to debunk the myths about Arabs and Muslims.
The way that the American people seen Islam was through films, and they were portrayed as sheiks with harem and bloodthirsty. They're rich, but they're filthy. They are not educated, they're terrorists. So this image of the Arabs have created an animosity from Americans towards Arabs, a hatred, let's say.
Arab leaders are cold-blooded murderers who organize and carry out terrorist acts throughout the world. Is that true?
In the post-9/11 era, the newspaper took on new responsibilities. The paper conveyed Arab Americans' rejection of terrorism and at the same time stood against profiling and vilifying the Arab American community.
Mr. bin Laden, he is really misinterpreting Islam and using Islam for his own terrorist activities. Islam has nothing to do with him. In fact, he is the one who is committing crime against humanity.
Osama Sablani, publisher of the Arab American News. In Detroit, in your area, in Michigan, you know there are militant Muslims, jihadists, correct?
Absolutely not.
Okay, absolutely not?
I don't even know.
Absolutely, are you saying
there are no militant? I'm saying to you that I don't know if there is a militant jihadist in Detroit. I don't even know if there are militant jihadists in New York. I think I praise and I thank the mayor for his action. This is the American way.
Well, wait. No speeches tonight, Mr. Sablani.
You're elected to protect the people and to protect their rights.
Okay, fine.
You're elected to protect the rights of the people, not to harass them.
I just want to get back to you, and you are saying to me that you don't know one militant mosque in Michigan. You're not aware of one. Is that what you're saying to me?
Absolutely not. It's a figment of your imagination, Bill.
All right. So you do not accept that there are any militant mosques operating in Michigan. We know there are militant mosques operating in the New York City area because they have been observed.
I think you should call the FBI.
We know, though. I have called the FBI. Insane.
I am siding with the Constitution.
Oh, yeah.
I am siding
Everybody
with
hides
the
behind the Constitution, Mr. Sablani.
On the face of this earth.
Everybody.
I am siding with the Constitution of the best Constitution on the face of this earth, the U.S. Constitution.
The police were not violating anybody's constitutional rights by surveilling people.
Of course you are. When you are surveilling an entire Muslim population, you are violating their rights.
Today there were 11 guys in this unit, all right?
Always the black, tomorrow is the Jews. You and me are going to be next. We cannot allow this to happen. If one person loses freedom, all of us, we lose our freedom.
Despite threats, the Arab American News defended civil rights, supported Palestinians' right to self-determination, and promoted democracy and freedoms everywhere.
This is what Osama Sablani found when he got to work this morning. Piles of glass from a shattered door and window.
This is directly related to the tension in the Middle East, and I would tell people those are cowards, and we should keep the conflict where it is. It's in the Middle East. We can here be civil.
The paper encouraged political participation and urged community members to vote and run for office. The paper received the Spirit of Diversity Award from Wayne State University, and Osama Sablani was inducted into the Michigan Journalism Hall of Fame in 2013. The following year, the publication was featured in the National Media Museum in Washington, D.C. For nearly 30 years, the newspaper has been telling Arab American stories. Now the Newseum was telling the Arab American news stories as a part of an exhibit on ethnic media in partnership with the Smithsonian Institution. The Arab American news staff has always been committed to the highest standards of journalism in the paper's quest for the truth. The diversity of the newspaper's employees, who are of different nationalities and religious and ethnic backgrounds, reflects the pluralism of Arab America. We would like to thank our readers and advertisers, pay tribute to our army of staff, and thank them for their hard work over the years. The Arab American News would never have seen the light of day without their dedication. We at the Arab American News will continue to stand up for you and tell your stories.